News Radio 700 WLW.
Come on, we got to face it, guys. This is a big deal for Trump.
Yes, State of the Union tonight, and a lot of things that folks are going to be interested. He potentially may weigh in on Iran, and I think one thing for certain is going to be the economy. There's
Absolutely.
differing opinions out there of the state of the economy right now, but that's certainly going to be a big issue tonight.
And here to discuss with us is our good friend. He's an economic strategist. He is an author, and he is a very good friend of the show. He is Dan Varroney. Dan, welcome back to the program.
It's a pleasure to be back, and sounds like you're feeling better.
Well, like I told you, it's the wonders of medicine.
Yes.
And caffeine. So,
Nice.
Dan, what can we expect tonight? What does Trump have to do? He's taken a little bit of water lately.
So I think what the president's going to do tonight is he's going to celebrate early victories in building back economic momentum. I think he'll say that his big, beautiful law has created more take-home pay, which it has. Everybody's seeing more on their paychecks. He's going to say that they're seeing more on their tax refunds. I know that for a fact. Our middle daughter reported to mom and dad that her tax refund this year will be, listen closely, $2,900. He will report that there's no tax on tips and no tax on Social Security, and that is all a down payment on his effort to give the American people more money to spend and make their quality of life much better than it is today. He's going to celebrate inflation coming down from a peak level at 9.1% to 2.4%. He'll celebrate, take a big victory lap on taking a good whack at lowering regulations put in place by the prior administration. He's also going to talk about gains in jobs. There are 170,000 private sector jobs created in January. That's a big win. Unemployment's down. He'll celebrate that. He's also going to absolutely celebrate energy production independence. So much so he's going to say that gasoline and all types of costs are down by about 6%. He'll talk about that. He's clearly going to talk about his tax policy and investment incentives for small businesses and how small businesses are now hiring. They're expanding and leading the recovery with a 100% component for plants and equipment in the first year. And I think he's going to talk about trade. And I think while the Supreme Court and everyone in the media is talking about tariffs, I think he's going to talk about it probably in a different way from a market access perspective. And here's what I mean by that. So you're in a Midwestern state. There's quite a few auto suppliers in your state. And auto suppliers and automakers now, as a result of these reciprocal tariffs, have got market access to Japan, Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Latin America. That's something that didn't exist before the reciprocal tariffs. And that, in addition to that, there's a lot of foreign direct investment that's being made. In the next 2 or 3 years, there'll be manufacturing jobs created by auto companies, pharmaceutical companies, chip companies, and so on. So I think the president will talk about those things. Clearly, he will talk about Iran and America's global leadership in the world.
So, Dan, everything economically you just laid out there, the wins that you talked about also included 4.4% GDP at the end of 2025. You got a record high stock market, 172,000 jobs ended in January. The perception, Dan, is that the economically things are in trouble right now. Is that perception or is that reality? It seems like a lot of wins that you and I just kind of rattled off, but the feeling out there seems to be that things economically are bad. What is the truth?
So let me give you the truth. Here's a data point as of today. Somehow I knew you were going to ask that. It was my telepathy, I think. The Conference Board's consumer confidence number, their confidence index came out today. It was at 91.2. So it's up, although modestly, it's still up. People are starting to not only see but feel that things are moving in the right direction. And what I want to emphasize to you and to your listeners is that when Ronald Reagan inherited the presidency, he had 13% inflation. He put forth his own big, beautiful bill with tax cuts and regulatory cuts. It was 18 to 24 months before people started to see improvement. And what I'm suggesting to you and to your listeners is that we are already starting to see improvements. Clearly, people are still feeling the weight of the last administration and the challenging economic times, but people are starting to feel better. They're at what I call the start of the beginning. But I promise you that come June 30th, July 1st, they'll be feeling even better. And by the end of this year, they'll be feeling absolutely better.
Wow.
Now, Dan, one thing that I even agree with, and you hear from a lot of people, is just the cost of things. The grocery store, right? I mean, meat is
Right.
very, very high right now. Just a lot of things, like
Yes.
cost of living and cost of going to the grocery store, very high. Trump made a priority when he went back into office of lowering gas prices, which that has happened. That has had an effect on bringing things down. But outside of that, what can Trump do, if anything, to lower prices of things at the grocery store?
Great question. So let's start with beef. So with beef, as a result of all the cost of feed and the cost of high regulatory compliance, you had farmers reducing the size of their herds in order to not only stay in business, but to make a profit. As they did that, there was high demand, fewer amount of cattle in the herd. That absolutely increased beef prices. What the president has done is allowed, in agreement with Argentina, to allow beef to come in to increase the ground beef supply. That, at least initially, will lower beef prices. But the long-term outlook for beef is that we're going to be looking at high prices there for a while. In terms of the other costs, there are some costs that are coming down. Eggs, the cost of eggs are way down, but the cost of other things have still yet to come down. What the president is doing along those lines is reducing regulations. And the other thing that I'll tell you is that as you see the gasoline prices come down, so there's fuel oil that we pay for at the gas station, then there's diesel fuel. As the cost of diesel fuel come down, the cost of food's going to come down. And I think that's starting slowly, and I think that's going to improve as we get through the halfway point this year and at the end of this year.
Dan Varroney is our guest. And Dan, how does this translate to the stock market, in your opinion? Because the stock market right now, it's up, it's down, and at the end of the day, it just seems to be going in a straight line.
The stock market is doing great. So for everyone who is looking at their 401ks, and if you're not thinking about retirement, let's say you're an early or mid-career professional, if you're looking at your 401k, you're feeling great. If you're a late career professional, you're getting ready to retire, you're feeling relieved and reassured that you'll be able to live and have a good retirement.
Okay. So that's all right. So economically, those are the things he'll address tonight. What about Iran? That seems like a powder keg, and no one really wants to get involved with. But sometimes you don't have a choice. It's there's things that they are doing in a threatening way, reinvigorating their nuclear program. What do you think Trump will say tonight about Iran?
Well, there were news reports over this past weekend in the Washington Times here in Washington, D.C. That's a newspaper here, and that Iran could have nuclear capabilities within the week. I think the president may address that, but I think the president has been very clear about his red line, which is the minute they develop nuclear capabilities, we're going to take out those capabilities. So I think the chances are, if they in fact are that close or they have them, then I think the president sees that as a red line and will take necessary action.
All right, with that, Dan, we'll see what happens. And when do you suppose we're going to see the immediate effects of what he says tonight? Do we have any idea on that? You know what I'm saying? How long before people actually react to it?
You mean the economy?
Yeah. Just people in general. I mean, what's the lag effect on it, I guess, is what I'm asking.
So I think that people are starting to feel it initially now. I think that 90 days from now and 180 days from now, they're absolutely going to see it.
Okay.
But I can tell you they're seeing it already in their paychecks because the brackets are lower and there's more take home. So they're seeing it there. They will see it when they submit their taxes and get a larger refund than they've seen in a number of years. And I think they'll see it price-wise mid-year to the end of the year.
Well,
does that make sense?
It does. And Trump, of course, is hoping it happens a little bit before the midterms, because that's everything, right? He's got to maintain, if he can, both houses, or the House and the Senate, if he wants to get things done in the second half of this term. So that's very, very important.
So you're right about that. So the benchmark dates for those are July 1st and then after Labor Day. If the economy is good on July 1st and it's good or very good after Labor Day, chances of the Republicans keeping the House and the Senate improve dramatically.
Awesome. Good stuff, Dan.
All right. With that, Dan Varroney, we will let you go. People want to find out more about you. Where can they go?
So 2 places. One is they can go to danielvarroney.com, and they can go to amazon.com and buy my latest book, Rethinking Economic Growth. All of the small business owners in your listener area will want to read that book. It's all about small businesses.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Dan.